Alrighty guys, we have another new siren that I acquired. It is a federal signed signal, 1965 federal signed signal, Thunderbolt 1003. Acquired this on July 17th, I believe. And this siren was originally in service in Dodge, Wisconsin. It's a small town on the border of Trempealeau and Buffalo County. Yeah, Buffalo County, I think. So, story behind this baby is Dodge got this siren, so the story of this thing is kind of unique in my opinion. So the siren was not actually originally in service in Dodge. This siren actually came from, we believe to be, this is not confirmed, this is just our best educated guesses from what we can see, or from what we can do as enthusiasts, trying to figure this stuff out. Believed to be from La Crosse Boiling Reactor, which was a nuclear power plant in Genoa, Wisconsin. So just south of La Crosse, or south of La Crosse, not just south, but they had one single siren, and they had a Thunderbolt 1003, which is confirmed. We do know they had one, and they only had one at their plant, at the plant itself, I think, because that was before the 10-mile EPZ thingy, where you have to have sirens within 10 miles of the plant that went into effect after 3 Mile Island and stuff like that. So that was before that, and they just had this there. And the plant shut down in 1987. And this, if all this was true, this would have been moved to Dodge in the early 90s, maybe the late 80s, maybe right when it was shut down. I'm not exactly sure, but we do know this 100% came from somewhere. It was not originally Dodge, because that's what I was told when I was on site removing it by the fire chief there. But the nuke plant is just our best educated guess at this point. And Dodge got this, and this replaced their Model 2, which is still active and used quite often on a regular basis, honestly. And like I said, they put this up and they use this for everything. They use this for both fire and weather. And yes, for those who do care, it did do the high-low signal for fires, as most 1003s will standard do. And they used this up until 2011, when it was it was replaced by 2001 130. But the story why it was replaced is because apparently a part broke on it, and the part is kind of obvious. One of these two solenoids, or actually, in fact, it's probably both of them for that matter, because both of them don't work. But this solenoid right here in particular, as you can see, completely corroded. This does not move at all. Does not move at all. This is completely corroded. That one's completely frozen, done. I believe that was the part. More than likely the part, because that's the only thing I can really see that's wrong with this thing. And they called in federal, or maybe not federal, maybe whoever their dealer was at the time, because ECS was not a thing at that time. And the dealer, or whoever it was, the company that was doing it for them to replace that solenoid, or both of them, whichever the case was, would not install it because the siren was apparently too low. Now, I know that sounds super sketch. I admit that's super sketch. But that is just what I was told directly when we were there removing it, is that they would not install it because it was too low. For those who do remember, who've seen the pictures of it and the video, that this was only on like a 20-foot pole. That's why it was so easy for us to remove with lift and stuff like that. Was because it was that low, and that was the reason. I'm not sure if they got noise ordinances or complaints because of how low it was. That could have been part of the reason why it was turned and disconnected as well. Not quite sure, but yeah. So that's pretty much the story with it. And then they replaced it with a 2001 130 on a hill about 2 miles away for a reason that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Well, it makes sense, it's just the plan didn't execute the way they thought it would. And you can look that up for yourself if you go on Google Maps and look at the site, and you'll see what I mean. So, like I said, acquired this and removed this on July 17th. Right now, it is currently hooked up to 240, level 7 for those who don't know. Now, since it is 1965, it does have a 3-phase rotator motor. Kind of unfortunate, but it's an OL. For the record, it also has a 1-step pulley. I might eventually get a 3-step pulley for it, but I really have no desire to do it at the moment. It's like $25, and I could use the $25 elsewhere instead of trying to make this thing do 8 RPM or something. I know some enthusiasts would pay that just to get it to do 8 RPM. So, and for those who want to see the tag, there's the tag. And here, screen, rotator covers, bolts from pretty much everything on this. The bolts for mounting the standpipe and the cabinets to the pole. So, for those wondering, the RCM cabinets and the blower are down in that shed over there, in that little garage part. I don't feel like walking down there. It's just your standard 2 RCM cabinets and your standard 4M roots blower, early 4M roots blower. Right now she's sitting on this kind of sketchy thing here. Bucket and 3 logs, because we put our firewood around here to good use when it's not being burned. It doesn't just kind of sit there, it gets used elsewhere pretty much. Main reason for that is because we want it to sit up, and it's not mounted to this, so all the weight here would just force it to sit on the ground anyway, so it's just going to fall over, so it doesn't even matter. And I'm not sure if you could tell from this angle or on camera, but it is almost, in fact, it might be completely level with, yeah, I think it actually is completely level. Either way, it's more level like this than it was on the pull and dodge. But, yeah, so just thought I'd make a video about this. Like I said, some people know about this. Some people have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about or had no clue that I have this. My pictures on Instagram didn't really hint towards anything. I just have one picture of this, and this is when it was still up. For those who want to see, this cabinet is a cabinet that's kind of interesting. So back in the day, as standard, this was telephone activated, and we have a first gen AF timer, just the guts, no enclosure or anything. This was actually, this cover was on top of it, just like this, well, pushed in so the buttons were in and stuff like that, but this was on top of it. I guess for manual activation. Some new relays in here or something. I'm not sure. Kind of looks familiar, honestly, but I'm not really sure why they're there. This is just a disconnect that was still on. So the siren was actually never, when they abandoned it, the siren was actually never disconnected. So I actually could have literally just hit alert or anything in there and it would have went off. More than likely, unless something was broken. But as far as I could tell, the chopper was working, or the chopper is working and stuff, so. Despite the fact of replacing, it might need to be replaced even if I have three-phase, even if I had three-phase service, because of the fact that I'm not sure if you could see in there, but maybe. That could be just dust and stuff, but the armature doesn't look too pretty. It looks worse way up there. Also, the wasps pack some mud in there, so not the greatest of things to see. I think I've covered pretty much everything. Yes. Here's the Model 7 as well, for those who want to see it. Everyone pretty much knows about this. The Model 7 will stay active, actually. I think it's actually going to stay right where it is right now. Both of these have a day in the paint booth next spring or summer. Maybe in the spring if we have a warm spring and I can figure out a day I want to mount that, because it's kind of it's kind of too late now to do it. I don't really have a desire to do it right now, but yeah, both these have a day in the paint booth. As you can see here, the Model 7 took a bullet. Took a ricochet of a bullet sometime. I don't even know when that happened. I just kind of noticed that like last week. And so that will stay here. This will go to a shed that has another 100 amp service panel with all the amperage and good jazz that we need. On the other side of the barn there's another shed down there that's lower. So it'll technically, actually, even if it's on a 5-foot standpipe, it's still gonna actually, I think it's actually low enough that it's still gonna be lower than this, even though it's gonna be mounted, so. Here's just all the wires that are wrapped up. Solenoid that I think I've mentioned that they don't work at all. Rotator and chopper. No test video right now because for those who don't know, a few people know about this. We have a neighbor who doesn't necessarily like the Model 7. And if he doesn't like the Model 7, he sure as hell is not going to like this when the blower is going. So I really gotta figure out what I'm gonna do, cause it might come down to you gotta stay home if you're gonna plan on stay home on the first Monday tests to run this, which at that point I'm actually okay with. For those who don't know, I've been trying to get out of this hobby. Sort of. I've tried to turn it to more of an interest rather than an obsession. An obsession just takes over your whole life and it takes over your education, like your schooling and stuff like that. And I'm sure some people can relate. So that's what I mean there. So I want this to turn into more of an interest and a side hobby rather than it being an obsession. Because really this stuff, there's nothing really to be obsessed over with this kind of stuff, honestly. I mean, it is cool. I'm not saying it isn't, but yeah. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about these two. Well, for the record, we have the little MS590 down there. And here, I don't think actually too many people have seen the Model 7's setup. Yeah, I put some stupid federal stickers on here one day. I think that was like 2 years ago or last year. Basic 60 amp fuses, stuff like that. Nothing too special on that disconnect. Con starters in here. So when we opened this up to test that motor over there, it's behind on the other side of the horn there. There was a mouse nest in here, so we had to put some silicone around it. Probably not the best silicone job, but oh well. But I think that is pretty much about it. I think I've tried to cover all of the I'm sure there's gonna be questions, but I've tried to cover most of what you guys are gonna put in the comments. Main reason I say that is I like seeing comments. I like seeing that people enjoy my content, but I don't check YouTube. I usually just hit the publish button and that's it. I don't check YouTube that much for comments and stuff like that. I really don't check my notifications at all. So usually it's when I'm scrolling through my dashboard that I see the comments that I'll reply to if you guys have a question. So I'm sure I'll eventually get to them, but it's probably not going to be a right away reply. So yeah, I think I've covered everything pretty much. If I haven't mentioned this already, I might have mentioned this. The blower and the RCM cabinets are done in that garage shed right there. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already. It's already been a 16-minute video, so kind of forgetting what I said in the beginning. But yeah, that's about it. Stay tuned for future siren videos. I do have a few that I'm going to try to get out soon. So once the school year starts, videos are really going to be gone. That's why I've been trying to save the video so I have something to upload over the school year. Because education, like I just said, is way more important than these pieces of metal. These rusty pieces of metal per se. Even that needs a day with the sandblaster, the inside completely. Not the housing, just the actual siren itself needs to day with the sandblaster and the getting repainted and stuff. But yeah, pretty much about it. Like I said, stay tuned for future videos, and we'll see you guys later.